Ahead and get started. I will kick us off. It's 12:07 p.m. and I'd like to recognize Councillor Ferreira for a prayer and for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Thank you. I just would like a moment to reflect on the problem with immigration in our state and in our country. And hopeful that we can find a solution that meets everyone's needs.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to recognize Councillor Kennedy for a motion to record advice and consent for the financial warrant.
So move, Governor.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor DiPaolo. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. If I could recognize Councillor Duff for a motion to record advice and consent for the pending list of notaries public and justices of the peace.
So move, Governor.
Thank you. Motion made by Councillor Duff, seconded by Councillor Devaney. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. I'd like to recognize Councillor Devaney for a motion to record advice and consent to pardon Joanne Booth. Motion made and seconded by Councillor Jacobs. Any further discussions?
Can it be now, this nominee?
Yes, you may.
Lieutenant Governor, this is the first time in my 24 years that I have ever seen someone pardoned that had such a tragic life. And if it wasn't for two people, attorney and Patty Dowling and Jody from More Than Words, we wouldn't be voting on this pardon today. This man,
Also, we're doing Joanne Booth.
Joanne Booth.
I'm sorry, what?
Doing Joanne Booth right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's been a very tough week for me, I'm sorry. First of all, she has gone through an awful lot, but you know what? We believe in second chances. And she has been productive in her life, she's gone on with her life. And I think it's time, more than time, that we pardon her. And that's it. And the one thing that we don't want to do, we don't want to exploit these people. And that's the thing that I think we all feel. We don't want that out in public. They want to live their lives. They don't want their name out there that for what they did. We want to show how they've come after that, because we know in their lives it's affected what criminal acts that they had done. So I am very pleased to make that motion, and I hope that the vote will be unanimous.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Any other comments or questions? Councillor Jacobs.
I'd love to take this opportunity to comment. I'm so happy to see the pardons coming through from this administration, the courage to bring them immediately out of the gate, and the nature of the cases that are coming before us are so worthy of the pardons that I am excited to be a part of voting on today. I did just want to comment across the last packet of pardons and this packet of pardons, the almost exclusively 100%, there might have been an exception here or there, but these are originating criminal offenses occurring during teenage years, during emerging adult years. This particular pardon is a dangerous weapon was used of flinging a sneaker as an 18-year-old. The nature of the crimes themselves, but the age at which they happened. I think it's so important just to highlight and reflect on the injustices that have been carried out in the distant decades past, when emerging adulthood wasn't as well understood as it is today, with the cognitive development and the impact of teen impulse control issues, not understanding consequences, occurring and then having an impact that has had a lifelong limitation on a full life lived. It's to me a travesty of justice that I'm happy to see us correcting, and I hope that we'll be doing more of that going forward. So I appreciate you all giving me the moment just to address it because it's something that's really been of concern for me.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other comments or questions regarding the motion to pardon Joanne Booth? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, I would like to recognize Councillor Devaney for a motion to record advice and consent to pardon Kenny Jean. Is that your motion, Councillor?
Virginia, yeah, for Kenny
Kenny
Jean.
Jean, and is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Jacobs.
Just say, the governor, in my 24 years, I never saw such a tragic story come before me about the life of this petitioner. This young man came from Haiti, and mother and father had given him up in Haiti to a grandmother. And they were physically abusive, and he came to this country really abandoned, became homeless. He was alone. And he ended up homeless, as I said. And I'm going to speak for myself, not for the other councilors. But we have government agencies that are supposed to reach out to people, especially when they're going for a pardon, to help them. Well, the Children and Family Service did not provide, did not lend the helping hand that he needed. They even were going to get him citizenship. He lived in fear every day that he was going to be deported. Here's a young man that came when he was 6 years old. He doesn't know the language in Haiti. He doesn't have a relative there. So imagine that. And so he depended on that agency to get him citizenship. So a lot of this pardon is so important. So I did something that never was done before, first time. I sent to all the councilors the parole board hearing of this petitioner, because they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and I believed it. And I don't want to exploit him in any way. He has different limitations that I will not get into. So he's gone on with his life. But I have to tell you, I'm concerned how many people out there that don't have someone like Patty, who was his attorney, and Jody, more than words. If they hadn't come into his life and advocated for him, we wouldn't be here today. And you know, Lieutenant Governor, there probably was 42 people at his parole board hearing. He is so deserving. He is so in need. And as I said, the agency let him down, and I hope it'll be unanimous. Let him continue in his productive life. And it's very emotional, so I can't find any more words to say. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions pertaining to this motion? So we have a motion on the floor to advice and consent a pardon to Kenny Jean. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next up, I'd like to recognize Councillor Jacobs for a motion to record advice and consent to pardon Murphy Smith.
So moved.
Is there a second? Seconded by Councillor Ferreira. Any comments or questions regarding this? Any discussion? Seeing none? I'm sorry, was I supposed to be doing this as a roll call?
It was unanimous, so I don't think it matters.
Okay, well, let's start doing it the right way on this one. I apologize. It's right on the agenda, so thank you for letting me know and not calling me out, but let's do it the right way. Motion's been made and seconded. If you could please call the roll.
Council Kennedy,
Aye.
Council DePaulo,
Yes.
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Ferrer,
Yes.
Council Devaney, Council Iannella,
Yes.
Council Duff.
Yes.
7 members voting, 7 in the affirmative, the matter carries. Next up, I'd like to recognize Councillor Ferreira for a motion to record advice and consent to pardon Evan Willie.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second? Seconded by Councillor DePaulo. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, if I could ask Secretary to please call the roll.
Council DePaulo,
Yes.
Council Jacobs,
Yes.
Ferrer,
Yes.
Council Devaney, Council Iannella,
Yes.
Council Duff,
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Yes.
7 members voting, 7 in the affirmative, the matter carries. Thank you. Sorry for missing the roll calls earlier. Councillor Devaney, is there a motion that you have?
With your
We have a few other items, but I guess I would just like to really commend the members of the Governor's Council for both the professionalism and the due diligence that you put into this process as a new administration working through this pardon process, and thank our legal counsel who spearheaded the effort. Really appreciate both your collaboration, the professionalism, and the ability to move through things like this in a really professional manner. So thank you. It's appreciated. And okay, Councillor Devaney.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you and the governor for sending these up because for the parole board, we really are desperate. But I did want to place this statement on the record here today. I'm going to be putting it in the governor's council office. I find no joy in doing it, but I do want to put it in the record. Last week, I presided over a hearing for Kenny Jane. And it was very heart-rendering to me. And as I said, I sent out his, the hearing that he had. So Councilor Ferrara gave notice that he had a court commitment and was unable to attend the hearing. So all councilors immediately went to the public assembly after the hearing. But only one councilor attended the hearing. When Councilor Iannella held two pardon hearings back in July, every councilor attended. After the hearing, I asked one of the councilors who did not attend if he was part of a boycott, and he said, yeah, that's what you could call it. The main responsibility of councilors is to attend hearings to prepare for the vote of that person, that nominee, at the public assembly. And the boycott did not disrespect me. It disrespected the office of the governor's council, the petitioner, the witnesses, and the people that attended. I have learned, Lieutenant Governor, it's not always popular to do the right thing. When the councilors voted on the phone to stop the streaming of our hearings to the public, I fought. I got it back, not alone, for 2 months. I got support of the ACLU, Mass PIRG, disability centers, League of Women Voters, and more. A councilor I served with for some time was interviewed and asked what she thought of Councilor Devaney restoring the hearings to the public. She replied, and this went in print in the newspapers, Councilor Devaney has mental disorders. That was in public print. And in the Globe, it was said that I don't get along with the council. Well, I will not vote for a sitting councilor for clerk magistrate when I am charged to vote for clerk magistrates from the people in the public who applied. That's not getting along, it's not going along. I find no joy placing this statement on the record, but it has to be said. I'm not perfect. I don't always say the perfect thing, but I'm committed to represent the public. And I respect my colleagues. And I have even put it into a prayer at our public assembly asking for respect. So this statement will be in the office, and it hurts to say it, but it just can't continue. It just can't continue. I'm trying my best. I'm full-time. I just met with this nominee. She probably was 1,001 that I have met. And I know everyone here cares, and I know they are doing their best. And I don't want smirking, please, but I'm just saying, I'm going to be putting this statement
Thank you.
in the office, and it's kind of like I have to typo, so I'll type it over for you. I find no, but this is not kindergarten stuff. We are.
Councilor Devaney, please make sure you direct your comments through the chair.
I don't want to debate over this. I've just said,
Devaney,
thank you.
you have had time to offer a comment with regard to,
Governor, if I may.
yes, Councilor Kennedy.
I don't know where a boycott came from. I think that's completely nonsensical. It's the first I've heard of that. I wasn't here because I was on trial down at the Boston Municipal Court. Because for two reasons, Councillor Devaney, unlike the rule that she's always trying to enforce, on a 2-week date on hearings, did it in 5 days. That's number one. Number two, I don't believe in doing hearings on these pardons because of that device there. It defeats the purpose of the pardon, which is designed to let people move on with their lives. The pardon doesn't mean anything when they can just Google it and look at the hearing, okay? So I don't believe in doing pardons on these, except in a very unusual circumstance. We had one of those in the fall. I wasn't thrilled about that hearing going on either, but as a general rule, I don't think we should be doing them. So I certainly wasn't in a rush to get up here, but I don't know anything about a boycott. I think that's nonsensical. I was on trial. That's why I wasn't here for the hearing.
Thank you, Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Devaney, I don't want us to have a back and forth.
I said I didn't want to debate, but let me just finish. I never heard from any councils. I sent them a letter. I sent them the video.
Councillor
They
Devaney.
call me and say, I can't come. I got noticed by Councillor
Devaney.
that he wasn't coming.
Councillor Devaney.
All I'm saying is that
Councillor
I did it
Devaney.
open, they got the letter, I told them about the hearing, I did everything that I could.
Thank you, Councillor Devaney.
Thank you.
That we're trying to avoid a back and forth. And frankly, I just reiterated what I thought was a very professional process for these particular pardons to come before this board. Whatever the hearings were, it did give people an opportunity to offer additional information if necessary. And we just voted on 4, I think, incredible individuals that are going to be having a second chance for opportunities that they are very worthy of, based on, as Councillor Jacobs pointed out, things that happened early on in their lives. I think that's a really proud moment for this Governor's Council. It recertifies why this is an important part of the process. And I'd hate for that to be harmed by, this sort of the last piece in this meeting. So let's keep in mind, like, what we just did today in a meaningful way. Thank you all for your participation in it and how this approach was handled, I think, with due diligence and in really good form. Councillor DiPaolo.
May I, an unrelated?
Yes.
Lieutenant Governor, in the interest of how this council functions and good governance and in eliminating ambiguity in how we function, I rise to make a motion and I present to the council a motion that we establish an ad hoc committee charged with drafting a set of council rules and reviewing the council questionnaire that is sent to pending nominees. This subcommittee would be comprised of myself and Councillor Jacobs, and it will solicit input from all councillors and submit our work to the council for discussion and consideration at the first council assembly in November 2023.
Motion's been made. Is there a second? Seconded by Councillor Iannella.
No, I have
Would you get a second first? Seconded by Councillor Duff. Under discussion, Councillor Iannella.
two things. First of all, I think anyone who wants to be on the committee should be on the committee. I think that's important. I try to politely tell my good colleagues, we have rules. We have 29 rules. I will submit them, I will forward them to you, and I would be surprised if you don't adopt 98% of them. We have rules, as I indicated to you at the hearing today. Very briefly, it's the governor's office who sets the date, time, place of the hearing. That's a rule. It's the council from the district who sets the date and the time for any hearings. That's a rule. It's the executive secretary who keeps a record. That's a rule. We have 29 rules. They're in writing. They're not my rules. They're the council rules. And I will send you all a copy of the council rules.
Councillor Duff.
I'll send
Sorry, Councillor Iannella, whenever you're done.
No, you finished? Yes. Okay. No, I would
Done.
like to say for the record, twice we've had this discussion under Governor Patrick and under Governor Baker, and this is literally the first time you've ever spoken and said we have rules. So I'm delighted to see them because we've submitted drafts before and I believe we're required to have rules. So if there is a set that, we can work off of, that would be terrific.
So it sounds like we
everybody today. Thank you. These are all rules.
We do have a motion on to create this subcommittee and under discussion, Councillor Kennedy.
There was a number of years ago, we adopted a written set of rules that I think have been carried over year to year, but we've never formally done that. So I think it would make sense to review them, update them, and formally adopt them again.
Councillor Devaney?
We did, I helped to have a meeting here and it was just the council, no press, no one else was allowed. And we can talk about rules and that, and we do have them, and I have them in my drawer, one of the rules, but they voted no. So that's how it's been through the years, but there was in the 70s and there was in the 90s. I'm not gonna bring up all the history.
We have a motion that's been made by Councillor DiPaolo and it's been seconded by Councillor Duff to form this subcommittee. And it sounds like there's a good basis of work to work on. Is there any further discussion on this? Otherwise, I'll just have the motion to allow this to proceed. Councillor Ainella, did you have? Oh, okay. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, I think I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Councillor Jacobs, seconded by Councillor DiPaolo. All those in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. We stand adjourned.